Folks, welcome in. I'm gonna, in advance, I'm gonna close the Twitch dashboard this time. So that it doesn't mess us up. Welcome to the Talkin Pit. We got MDCT, myself, Psychedelic Eyeball, and Ty Tuesday. And we got some games to talk about. We're each going to present a game that we think is neat for about 10 or 15 minutes. Everybody ready to roll?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes,
yeah, sure.
Well, I'll be playing mine, and I think it's gonna be complicated. I can go first, but
Sure.
it's intimidating
Yours
to even
is-
think about.
it's the one you were streaming, right? Because I watched a good amount of it. I can help carry some of that load, Space Cowboy. Because yeah, the game you're playing is juggling plates extraordinaire.
Yeah, I was thinking
It's
about
outrageous.
it has these modifiers that. Well, I'll just load it up. So
Yeah. Yeah, just
Okay,
show
I didn't
people.
get to see
This
it, so
game's
yeah, I'm kind of
crazy.
interested to see it now.
I'm doing Save the Reactor, and I was thinking about what it would be like to do it during this show, and how that's just one more bad modifier to try and pay attention and commentate to you three while I play it. Let me go ahead and open this up. So this game is about. It's kind of like if Papers, Please and Keep Talking Nobody Explodes combined into one mess of thing.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
So two different extremely stressful games at the same time.
Yeah, the way I interpreted it is like, keep talking and nobody explodes except single player, and there's no puzzle element. It's just execution. So it's just like juggling 25 modules at the same time. It's, if you're the kind of person who's easily stressed out by a video game, this is probably not one for you, I'd say.
Yeah, so this is I don't think the story is huge. It's got an endless mode that's really good, and you should probably come in here to try and get the secrets and stuff, which give you like permanent boosts. This game is $5 on Steam, so if you like what you see, super cheap, super just one of those games you can just pick up and you know, give yourself anxiety for the day. If that's something you wanted, you can just go in there. I'm gonna do endless. So here we have modifiers we can choose. You can pick 6. Like your dashboard gets set on fire sometimes, and you have to grab a fire extinguisher. That's fun. Everyone likes that.
Oof.
As is normal, yeah. Happens all the time in
Indicators.
Reactors.
This one's pretty light, but indicators tell you are only dying actively when one of them is red, and they build up from green to yellow to red. So if they're yellow, they mean they want your attention soon, and you can like get ahead of the game a little bit. Like every 30 seconds they'll break, and if they're red, you are dying, and you need immediately to fix it, and it's adding bad HP to your reactor, and it's blowing up. So that one breaks the indicator that tells you that it's that one's and this one is. I use this one a lot. You just press it, you get your health back. It's the one-time heal, and this one is also that, but you have to actually watch it, so it's really tedious. This one drops bacon on your console all the time.
Dude, the bacon is so much worse than you'd think. The
I
bacon
hate
like
the bacon.
piles
I'm
up
doing the
so
bacon.
fast. It was so funny because the first time you did a bacon level, it was like, oh, this is cute. There's like a couple little pieces of bacon here and there, and then later on, you're like, my whole panel is bacon, bro.
This one
Are
is
you eating? Are you doing a reactor next to a diner, or?
your coworker's super annoying, I think is the thing. So this one fills the room with smoke, and you have to waggle your cursor over it to get rid of the smoke, and it blacks out the vision. This one just makes heat worse. This one flickers the lights on and off, which everyone. That's a classic prank.
Yeah, this is totally keep talking and nobody explodes.
The other two are these two at the end are just this is black and white, which isn't that bad. It's kind of like this one again, and this one gives you more time. So we're gonna do the other two annoying ones where people just get in my way, and I have to file reports sometimes and shove them in a tube to be able to see. So those are our 6 fun modifiers, and for that we get a score bonus of 80%, which this is the endless mode, so the score is the goal. And normally in the normal game, when you're trying to do the story, which has multiple endings and all that, you can like control how fast this stuff comes at you. But in this mode, it starts off slow and just automatically ramps up. So modifying your score and being able to actually handle it. Yeah, okay, so here's we see some of those effects before the game has even begun. And each one of these panels, you can highlight the question mark to see what they do. This one here, you have to hold the. Hold on a second. Okay, this one here, you have to hold the button to pull the garbage and sweep it out of here. This one
Jeez,
you
we're
have to.
smoking a
coffee.
cigar right now.
Here's the form I was. Here's the form I was talking about. We gotta shove that up there. Here's the bacon. This one wants me to match the
There's a lot of it
nodes.
already.
Yeah, it's gonna keep opening panels. This one we gotta make sure there's no reds. 1 second. Okay, this one is, we gotta match the cables, which is already done. This one, they want me to keep the number between 7,000, hold on a second, I got a fire. This one, it wants me to keep the number between 3,000 and 7,000, roughly. Yeah. This thing in the center tells you the state of everything according to what it thinks is yellow and red. So it's a good thing to be watching for where you should prioritize your time. Because you can just bounce around, but you're gonna be dead if you do that. You need to kind of actually... Like, I can be way ahead of the game on this one. This one is yellow because it's starting to go bad. I need to turn the coffee maker on. This one I need to match the numbers. Yeah.
The smoke in particular, I remember when you were first playing through this, made you miss the thing in the top left like 6 separate times, where you just were like, I don't even know what's killing me right now. And it was because it was just entirely covered in smoke. The console's on fire again.
Yeah, well, sometimes your console's on fire.
Yeah,
God.
This is basically right from what I understand of, like, you know, reactor management.
Okay, this one I have to hit this button a bunch to get the bar down. This one is DDR. Obviously, just, you know, hit the thing.
Oh.
Something is going red. It's this one. I need to get that number up. So my health bar is there in the center there. You can see it. Oh, this one wants me to turn it right. Okay, we got a couple more modifiers than I would like, I think, for all being unhealthy.
Oh boy.
This one is shooting the panels that are blocked. Which one is red? This magnet needs to be magnetized. Yeah. Now it's gonna shuffle these in and out. This is not all of the panels. There are many of them.
Like, as much as I thought that after a while you could almost say that Papers, Please was relaxing, like, I'd say, no, I can never see myself relaxing to this.
Okay, I gotta punch the numbers in here. Nothing special. Sometimes they have you do math, which is... It's like simple, like x equals 2x and x is 5. Like, you have to do some simple math real quick, and it is so much harder to do in this than it should be. I am also dying like hell right now.
So the thing that cracks me up about that one that's just pull the square to the square hole and the circle to the circle hole is that the symbol for it in the center console is IQ.
Thought you could put everything in the square hole.
I mean, yeah, look at those. All of those should fit in the square. It's the square is the same width.
I can't move because the bacon's in the way.
No.
Okay, so we got a problem, and I can hit the safety button to reset everything one time per life. You can just set every single panel to be happy again. So hit that button because we are super dying up there. That's the end of us. I need to start doing DDR, which is, I hate this one because it feels so bad to be playing DDR and waiting for the next one to come down, and you don't really have enough time to bounce back and forth. So this one's asking me to do math. I hold control and I type in 21, I think. Yeah, to get the result of R. That's what it's asking for. This one wants me to switch all the levers on and off. This one is, I guess this is from Lost. I hate it. You have to type in, like, actually type
the
in
numbers.
Yeah.
You gotta type in the numbers
and then hit execute all the time.
Yo.
Oh no!
Okay, I got a pretty lousy score. Let's try that again with less stuff.
So the story mode beforehand, it's slowly introducing you to these mechanics and initially asking you to produce like pretty low energy, and then it starts racking up, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it allows you to like adjust the speed of the left side of the panel, the center panel, and the right side. So like early on, if you are really struggling with like one of your panels, you can slow that one down and like boost the speed of another to compensate, right?
Mm-hmm. They also have secrets like this where this is related to one of the panels, and you figure out which one, and then you do the thing. Like this one says at 666 power minimum on your energy bar, type 666 into that keypad I had, and you will get a prize which gives you like 5% more energy, and it's permanent. Like you permanently unlock these for having done that. So that's something you can go after too and make the game easier. Once you get them all, you're looking at what, 8 times 8, 64% more power. I guess it's 32% because it's 4, but yeah. This one on the left, we hit the spacebar on time. I love the ones that use the keyboard because you can do those at the same time as other ones. This one you just match the pressure. This one is match the key. This one is sweep back and forth looking for things to click. This one is a timing game that I hate a lot. And the keyboard is just erase Make sure the chalkboard is empty at all times. Yeah.
Is the coffee machine just
to keep it empty?
Coffee machine is your standard free. It's really easy. You just hit this button when it's red. So that one is always there. It's the only one that doesn't change, and it's basically there so you have something going for you. I've got to type the word in down there, and that one sounds easy, and it is, but it's super, because it's so easy. The timing on it is super mean. Like if you ignore that for a couple seconds, you're done. You're gonna start dying real fast. So that one is probably the highest like pressure one. We're at a reasonable pace now without those guys popping in my face and the lights going off.
Yeah, earlier it was really, really frantic.
Yeah, that's about as hard as it gets. I mean, it definitely... You can look at the speed marker here. So this is 2 out of 5 right now. This one we got to make sure the crosshair is in the center. What is red? Oh, we need to hit type that in. So I lost that much health, and this thing I can pull whenever it lights up to get health back. So that's a perk that I chose, which maybe you lose overall energy generation for those positive ones, but maybe they'll pay off because that's super nice to be able to actually get the heat down and not be.
Yeah, your health's kind of at a premium, right? Like it's like Spelunky. You only really have those 2 ways to get it back, and that's it.
Yeah. So now I have 2 of those. I have this button I can press to get 60%. So from here I can get healed one single time, and the other one is kind of perpetual, and it's ready now. So it just gives me like that much back. It's super nice too. But you have to actively. It's another mini game. You have to actively do it, and that sucks.
It also only helps when you start falling behind, which feels a little bad too.
Yeah, it's more of a you do it early, and you're probably going to ignore it later because you won't get as much back as you're losing for messing with it.
You know, I've never actually been in a energy like reactor plant or something like that, right?
That's exactly like this.
Yeah, I was about to ask, like the skull with the wings decoration, that's standard in these? Is that the control rod?
I forget where you see the items I found, but that is one of the items I got for 4% energy generation. That's for typing in 666.
I see. So it's not standard. It's something you have to actually spring for. Got it.
I brought that into work as a treat for my fellows who work here with me. And the IQ game gets upset fast. I'm under the impression that you generate more energy when things are green, but I'm not sure. But you certainly don't want them to be red. That's the guaranteed truth there. This wheel is super annoying. I have to keep it lit up with the friend color there. Friend color, that's reactor terminology.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta turn on the tea. Coffee maker's messed up.
Oh, good job!
Thank you. Oh, this game down here is one of the worst ones for me. I hate these. And this garbage is lit up too much. Yeah, I had to hit the good job button. They get mad fast. That's another easy one that just... It seems like you're like, oh yeah.
So if you're bad at accepting compliments, you get punished.
Yeah, you would think anything that looks easy tends to be one of the worst ones, actually, because you just ignore the good job button and it goes red and you don't have time to fix it. It's a one-click thing, so the time on it being mean is super tight. This one down here on the numpad is one of my favorites because that's easy and I can just do that. I don't miss that one very much.
Oh, is that just like a skill check of like, can you use the numpad on your keyboard very quickly? Which, like, if you're a zoomer, maybe not.
I don't think that.
But like, we can numpad pretty fast.
Some of these punish you, and that one does not. So you can just mash the keypad and get that sucker. It's fine. They like that. So you can just hit all 9 keys, whatever, just real quick. This one on the very far left is tapping left and right a whole bunch. Yeah, you can see this is getting out of hand now at the 5 speed. This is maximum speed.
Oh boy, yeah.
This is as bad as it gets.
Your health is draining fast and fast.
Yep. I'm gonna hit that button because things are a little nuts.
Quick Smile, you have to tell them you're doing a good job.
Hey, ain't been there that long. We still haven't seen all the panels. Okay, this one here, it lights up red ones, but you can't see the red, so you have to highlight it with your mouse to find the ones that are bad.
That's rough.
Oh.
There, you can see now there's like 3 bad ones now, so you have to do that to find them. When it gets red, nearly all of them are bad, so it's not too much, but it's a lot of work.
That sounds like a lot of clicking, regardless. So it's a lot of actual physical, entering into the field there.
One of the things I did not like in this game, maybe close your ears if you don't want a spoiler. I guess it is kind of a secret, but there is a red button normally in the center of the dashboard that is not here currently, and if you click it
The 999 button?
Yeah, it started at 1,000, and I clicked it on stage 1, and it stayed at what I clicked, like it was a permanent. Did I screw it up forever? Oops. But no, it was you click it 1,000 times to get something to happen.
Oh god.
And the something that happens is you get one of the things that gives you a discount on reactor energy.
Like in terms of clicking, this is somehow giving Diablo a run for its money.
Okay, I did a little better without any penalties and only good stuff, but I think that lever doesn't pay for itself, typically, at least with me on the helm. That is seemingly a bad score, but yeah, I'm still missing some of these, and there's a guide on how to get them all.
I mean, in my books, that still looked like a really good score because, oh my goodness, this is.
I mean, don't
this
mess
is
with,
hard to follow at times.
Don't mess with Doom Z95. I guess I'm back here with 1,500 as the top score, and these guys in the yeah. So this game is really neat. I haven't finished the story. It actually maintained pretty high difficulty throughout. You do have to set it to be 3 or 4 out of 5 at some point during, like, you can, when you're having trouble, you can slow it down, but you do have to keep it pretty high up to be able to get the energy in time. Those secrets, I think, are there to help.
They also give you a bespoke gauge telling you if you are ahead of pace, behind pace, or on track, right? It's like there's a gauge in the middle that's like between red and green, and if you're ahead and will make it in time, it'll be like in the green, even if just a little bit. But if you're like not gonna make it at your current production, it'll just be in the red.
Yeah, and that's based on how much time is left in the level, so it's accurate. Like if you have a minute left and you turn it down because you're almost there, you're gonna see it go wow real fast. Well, that's Save the Reactor, and it's on Steam. I thought it was neat. This guy who made Storyteller tweeted about it, and I'm like, that's a good recommendation. All right, I'll take that. I'll take a look at that.
I mean, I'll definitely have a look at it too. Definitely seems nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect.
$5, yeah.
It's not got the story of like Papers, Please. I don't like the writing's a little silly, and it seems like a short campaign. That's not the sell. The sell is definitely the whole
endless mode.
Yeah, so I think that's where you can get your money's worth out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Who would like to go next?
Well, we brought up getting good on the numpad earlier, and let me tell you, if there's something that'll make you good at numpads, traditional roguelikes.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I'd like to go next, because I want to talk about one of my favorite games of all time, Caves of Good, which isn't fully out yet, but it's getting very close. It's actually got a decent chance of coming out fully this year.
Yeah, version 2.0. Like, they've been working on this game for a while.
4.84. Yeah, this game has been getting worked on for ages. It is an old ass game at this point. It's one of those traditional roguelikes being made by someone who has been working on it for most of their life at this point. That kind of thing. Anyway, let's get in there. I created a character and got him to like mid game specifically for this. And I wanted to get to mid game. Mid game rather than just the start, because honestly, I feel like a lot of people will probably give up on Could roughly around just after the early game, and this is just beyond that. So to kind of give you an idea about what it's like going beyond that.
Okay, so that's about like 3 hours in.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Sorry about that. I don't know why I did that. I've never seen that before. Only when you're showing things off. Yeah. So, Caves of Good is like I said, traditional roguelike. It's and by that, I mean, this is a game that has an ASCII mode if you want to go play it. This isn't ASCII. This is actually very, low-res, lo-fi fidelity pixel art stuff.
Yeah. It's still very much like in the style of these older game, like Dwarf Fortress as well than ZZT.
It's definitely more snap readable. Like I feel like the barrier of interpreting is way lower in Could. Like I was able to start playing Could in like an hour, and I felt comfortable looking at and understanding stuff.
Give me a second. I thought that going into full screen would make this a little less jittery on it, but let me go ahead and swap over back to not full screen. There'll be a little tiny bit on the bottom, but there we go. Now from this, the map itself doesn't move, but you can see it. So you might not be able to immediately tell where I am on the screen. That's fine. I'm the blue guy. I've swapped over to Alt to highlight everything that's important. I'm the blue one. That's me. And then I can move here. This game does use numpad controls. It's something that you might want to learn if you play this. You don't have to play with numpad. I don't think WAS works.
Yeah, I'm just gonna guess that it moves better this way, like especially if you want to move in diagonals.
Absolutely.
Also, there's like a lot of auto move options on keyboard that help a lot. Like there's like auto explore stuff. So if you're using the keyboard extensively, the shortcuts just become really natural.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and actually just show that off and see if I can find a. This game has an overworld map as well, so it's more like of the traditional roguelikes. It's more ADOM style, Ancient Domains of Mystery, than it is like NetHack basically. And there are shortcuts for go to nearest way down, go to nearest way up, that kind of thing. There are shortcuts for auto explore, which go ahead and show that off right here. So if I press 0 on the numpad, insert. Whoop. There's actually there's a mimic over here. There's an enemy mimic. It's a bump them up when it comes to actually doing the combat and things like that. So I'm not in a dangerous area, but I'm just trying to show off the movement basically more than anything else right now. The auto explorer is pretty good. It's not perfect. There will be occasional moments where you get you move back and forth repeatedly and it's and something like that, and you just can't take control over that. It's almost never a big deal. The game's auto explorer is pretty smart overall. I don't know if you have the sound going, but this game does actually have sound, which is one of these.
Yeah, I do hear it.
Okay.
Hear the wind.
I love this game's soundtrack, actually. It's very, very weird in a very interesting way.
Got cave music. It's ambience.
That's cave music right there. Move over here to get into Joppa's tunes. But speaking of music, I'm going to go ahead and get into and do the next thing that is part of the main quest of the game, which is going to this area right here. Bethesda Souza. Bethesda Souza is So one of the things that I really love about the weirdly enough level design of this game is that the procedural generation in this game actually it's pretty good at generating levels with like good identities, basically. Bethesda Souza always has everything that's got in Bethesda Souza, for instance. And it is a real nasty place. So let me go ahead and just show off what we're looking at here. We got enemies. They will be enemies depending on your faction. Glow Whites are their own faction, I think. There's this Disciple of the Sightless Way up here, also an enemy.
Also, I like that there's a difficulty level of the foe that you're about to go into.
Absolutely, yes. Now, I'm actually a pretty powerful character at this point. I created one that was designed to be easy to play. Because there are two different kinds of starting characters that you can play as. You can play as a truekin or a mutated human. Mutated humans have access to these mutations, which give them, advantages, and they actually are very heavily run defining. I've got multiple legs here, which gives me an entire second set of legs and makes me very fast. And also gives me extra body parts as well. I have the 4 feet and hind feet, for instance.
Okay. And you can equip stuff on all of your limbs too.
Yes. I found this pair of helping hands early in the game to like, and I just got this randomly, so I decided to use it. Got a pair of mirror shades. Hell yeah. Those are on my back. It's giving me entire extra, a couple of metal arms. Sure, shame about the brittle bones, but listen, when you're a weird centaur going around who generates electricity and has horns on their head, you know, and also can fire light and manipulate light to laser things, you know.
I think it was Lands of Lore 1 with Patrick Stewart in it that has a guy who has 4 arms, and he's just twice as good as all the other characters because he has 2 swords and 2 shields.
All right, so the brittle bones actually did fuck me up there. However, this is actually a good opportunity to show off that this actually does have multiple different ways to play. Now, this does have traditional roguelike mode where you can just die, right? And then you have to start over entirely. This also has what is called roleplay mode, where you can go ahead and save your progress at any town that you visit, basically. And having done that, you don't actually lose progress beyond what you've lost right there. I'm playing on roleplay mode specifically to guarantee being able to show this off, kind of thing, you know?
Yep.
Brittle bones, by the way, makes it so that I take extra damage from blunt attacks, like, say, getting a large boulder the size of a medium boulder thrown at me. That kind of thing.
You know, the exact situation.
Exact situation that was currently going on, yes. Ooh, gaslight fleeca. Neat.
So I know one of the things that really interests me about Could is just like it's very aggressively like transhumanist in a lot of ways, and a lot of like the stuff you can do with your characters, and it is willing to let you get super weird. It has no shame in like you can be a brain wizard for sure, or you can have 16 legs.
Absolutely. One of the options you can choose at the start of the game when you're playing as mutated human is a chimera, which is it locks you out from all of the mental mutations. So I wouldn't be able to get light manipulation on this character if they were chimera. But you are able to, like, say, if I were to buy a new random mutation here, one of these options would also say just generate
bonus
a new
limb.
body part as well. Like, yeah, bonus limb. And that can be anything. And when I say bonus limb, that can be anything. I mean, I've had a character whose head split open and turned into an extra hand, or had a full arm grow out of the head, faces grow out of your character's back feet, that kind of thing. Like, and these are all new body parts that you can equip things onto and things like that. If you ever want to play this game, believe it or not, a chimera who's focused on using axes to be an axe blender who has like 13 arms, each with an axe on them, is actually very effective. Speaking of, this is actually a fantastic get. I will go ahead and grab regeneration, and that will make me significantly more resilient. Bethesda Souza. All right, so Bethesda Souza is like I said, it's got some interesting generated areas in it. The first 3 rooms are mostly the same, and then you go into the rest of it. This motherfucker is a troll who's throwing axes at me, and I don't know if I can handle that.
Ooh.
Whoop. Yeah, that just hit me for 48 damage, and I've got 135.
Okay.
Now, this is also very much a game where you should keep in mind the things that you have in your inventory, because they're useful. They're very useful.
Hit him with the love injector.
I've got 18 salve injectors. Oh, I could hit him with the love injector. Would you like me to?
Yeah. What's that all about?
Okay, hold on a second.
All right.
Let me get out of here. I'm very fast, thankfully, because of my extra legs.
Same.
That is another thing in Could is like when I was first playing, at least it seemed like a lot of times you could just say shit sucks, hit the bricks, and simply decide to not engage with the troll throwing axes at you.
Absolutely, yeah. 100% you could do that.
When my legs get tired, I
now-
just use my other legs.
God,
So I've
that were
equipped
me.
the love injector, right? Because you did want me to do that.
Yeah. What's this do?
Oh, all right. He's back.
Troll fell in love with me.
All right, we got ourselves an axe thrower.
Yeah, they're an ally now, straight up. Now if I want to guarantee.
Okay, and how long
that-
does that last?
Love is forever. It's like, come on.
I don't know. How
I mean, that
long-
depends on who you ask that to.
You gotta commit to your love with the throwing axe monster.
I'll think about it a bit.
I will go ahead and stay there, bud. However, I'm also going to go ahead and do there's a very complicated like faction system in Caves of Khud that's actually really, really fun to work with and all of that. Now, by having Jotun, who parts limbs here, the troll, like become an ally of mine, I can speak with them now. And having done that, because I can speak with them and they're an important member of a faction, I can do the water ritual with them, which it involves sharing some water, because this is a game that's very heavily like water is incredibly scarce kind of thing.
Live and drink.
And become, and then I'm now water bonded with them.
Well, nice. And now your
water bonded with them,
reputation is minus 350.
That's an improvement from what it was before. It was at minus 475 before.
Okay, so maybe next time they're not gonna throw axes at you
as quickly.
Yeah.
They might think first and then throw the axe. But yeah, no, like, because your starting relationship with like the enemy factions is usually like negative like 400, 500 or whatever.
Okay, so it's really bad.
Yeah, so like the other thing too is Doc did the water bonding ritual. If you do the water ritual with someone and then kill or injure that person in any way, shape, or form,
in the entire game
everyone hates you. Yeah, you have basically said like, I have made a respectful bond of trust with this person. I will fuck with anyone else in this wasteland, but this person and me, we're homies. So as soon as you fuck that up, everyone's like, this man is untrustable.
You're an oath breaker, and it's like minus 200 with every single faction. All of these, every single one of these factions that I'm scrolling through right here will hate you.
Oh my god,
so don't break the water ritual. Don't do it.
Oh boy. Yeah, better not play worms because you're not welcome.
Good news, you always start the game with dogs liking you, which I feel like is an important thing for a lot of people.
Okay, now this game has won me over fully.
I'm apparently... Birds fucking love Pit Talker. Birds are all up on this guy. Birds go up and it's like, this guy is so fucking cool. He can come to my holy places. If you want to come to the temple later tonight, you don't even have to worship. We're just gonna go ahead and
Temple of Holy Birds.
Absolutely. So, you know what? The thing is that there's 3 like important trolls in a row. They're also the only members of the troll faction, but.
You want to read that name out loud? That's pretty
Fjorn
cool.
Kosev, who knits the icy lattice.
Yeah.
The writing in Caves of Khud is very, very interesting. It's very, if you ever heard of weird fiction, it's very weird fiction. Things like that modern media stuff, like, kill 6 billion demons and things like that.
Disliked by strangers for cooking them a rancid meal.
Yes. Mysterious Strangers is a faction in of itself. They're loved by trolls, disliked by mysterious strangers, hated by the villagers of Sugalep, but admired by tortoises.
I like that there's even reasons for the positive or negative reputations too.
It's rarely relevant. It's mostly just fun. Okay, here we go. There we go. Got a second one.
Love injected.
I actually love, for what it's worth, when you brought it up, I was going to just kill them because that's straightforward. Because you brought it up, I decided I'm just going to go ahead and do what I normally do in this then, which is become allies with all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Trolls are now indifferent to me.
This is a popularity quest.
Ooh, minus 225. All right.
This game also generates like bespoke lore on every run. So you'll get like weird stories of specific sultans and shit. And like sometimes that information will be relevant down the line, or like if you know enough lore of a certain sultan, you can like talk to a person and share information with them and like get faction bonuses. It's one of those things of like Dwarf Fortress. However deep you think the complexity runs, it's like 12 layers deeper than that. It's unbelievable.
That,
yeah.
For example, on this particular run of the game, I generated these. So there's always 6 sultans. They were the 6 previous sultans of Khud, kind of thing. The sultanate has been fully dissolved at this point. It's not relevant to the majority of characters in the game, but the sultan histories are important for your regular playthrough. And these can be wildly different. In this particular run, we actually generated 2 dynasties. And instead of like 5 individual ones.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know you could do that. Yeah.
If you get, it's honestly kind of less preferable if you get the dynasties, because the dynasties mean that you have like, the Sultan sites are always revered by the same people, kind of thing. So it's more interesting if you get the multiple ones, but the dynasties are fine too. I have Omed first, second, and third. Sutafa the first and second, and then the sixth one is always Reshef. Reshef is the one that's locked every time. And these are all actually kind of important in everything in each individual run. So there is an additional troll in this room. However, they're hard to notice because they're invisible. Thankfully, I found these night vision goggles earlier, and if you have night vision, you can speak to them. Now, because I became indifferent with trolls with the other two, Hagaba over here who plies the Umbral Path is not at odds with me. Because if I'm indifferent, then neutral members of the faction, non-hostile members of the faction, won't attack you, is the idea. So by doing that, I actually managed to get all three of those without having to worry about it. I do have the problem, though, is that I need this dude's key. So I need to buy that key now from him. Or I could, you know what, hold on a second. I can still just make him love me. Hold on.
I was like, fuck this. Take the love potion, stupid. I'm over this. Get in the bag, troll.
Try to stay there. And now, because they're in love with me, they will offer the things that they're carrying to me for free.
Oh.
That's how it works. All right, and now having done that, I'm going to go ahead and put my actual weapons back on because from that point on, I can't do just nothing here. I won't go too deep into the Bethesda Sousa, but I want to show off kind of like the level of difficulty that goes on from this point on. It has not been said that the money in this game is fresh water.
I mean, it's like money is functionally just all bartering, right? And like
It's
the
all
drams
bartering.
of water. Yeah, like the drams of water are functional and high quality bartering good, but it is still just inherently bartering.
Yeah, and
Okay, so there's no like centralized currency system.
No. And you'll get offered some really good things in the first area sometimes, and you'll just straight up be asked the question right away of like, hey, are you willing to dump like all the water you have in your pockets to get like a rifle that will just kill anything you pointed at?
pretty much, yeah. Like that's entirely possible to have come up. Like the game, it's incredibly unlikely, but any merchant in this game can carry almost any item. It's just a lot, and you can just randomly get drained with some wild shit. I have met the fucking first NPC, like ruler of the basic village of this game, wearing a pair of fucking pumps that are made of quark gluon plasma. All right, that's the kind of shit that happens in this game.
Well, I figured, because I'm familiar with this game, I tried to play it, I don't know, 10 years ago, that you would not get very much of this surface scratch in 15 minutes.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I figured that I won't be able to go much farther, but I just wanted to show off to folks. If you are like me and enjoy yourself, I just died. Don't worry about it. This is the perfect time for me to die. The game gets very difficult from Bethesda Sousa onward. If you're like me and you enjoy classic roguelikes, but you're kind of bemoaning the fact that the classic roguelike is very much a dead genre, because it is. It just kind of is. Like, there's a few that are continuing to be made, but no new ones get made, right? Here's a continuously updated one that is very well balanced, very interesting, and very, very, very fun, with lots of different options, an enormous world map that you can go through. Like, every single one of these squares on the map, right? You can go here and do shit, and each one of them is 9 squares of game. So this game is absolutely enormous, and it goes infinitely down as well, because the caves of Kud are going down. So you take this entire map, and then you multiply it by, an arbitrary number, and that's how much of this game can exist. The only thing that stops it from, like, going infinitely is eventually your save file will get so large that it will fucking crash. So, But that won't happen in a regular playthrough of the game. That's entirely if you decide, all right, I just want to play this one character for literally forever kind of thing.
And there's some wild bullshit you can get up to be clear. Like there's like some legendary sword bear or something that people are like,
Saddam's the Sky Bear.
I'm going to steal from the Sky Bear today, and you say before you get up to fucking big crime. Yeah. Can you talk about the Sky Bear? Because I think talking about the Sky Bear lets people know like where some of the upper ceilings of Code really do get to.
So here's the thing: Sadamas the Sky Bear is he's in fact in Bethesda Sousa, he's a frozen super boss basically. By the time you can get to him. He carries along with him a vibro sword, basically, that will always penetrate armor, sort of thing. And he has this fucking jetpack that he flies back and forth on, and is like a surprisingly complicated boss fight for a traditional roguelike kind of thing. And it's fun to, set him free, fight him, and mess with him kind of thing. He's just a guy. Saddam is the Sky Bear. Sky Bear is his like title. And by just a guy, I mean he appears to be just a real human being, which almost no one else is, kind of thing. But there's far more with that motherfucker that you can do, because I've done a playthrough of this game where I prioritize nothing but using the domination, like mental quality, mental mutation. Which the domination mental mutation lets you take over someone's body, and if you're a tricky motherfucker, that lets you fully swap bodies with someone. So I have done a run of this game where I immediately left the starting zone, functionally ground. It's fun to just play this game, so it doesn't really feel like grinding ever. Ground up to like level 30 or some shit, went to that dude's place and swapped bodies with him permanently, then went back to the start of the game and then just played through the entire game as that guy. Because that's a thing you can do.
Yeah,
you
it's
can
like
summon up 6 temporal clones of yourself, all with guns. You can have an evil twin that can pop up out of nowhere in any given screen. You and your fucking evil twin can both summon up those fucking 6 temporal clones with your guns, and then have a fucking 7v7 shootout with each other.
Yeah, I do like that. Like, you can get more psychic powers, and there's no real practical ceiling on what you can achieve with psychic powers, other than the fact of the more psychic powers you have, the more the universe takes notice of your psychic powers, and people do start just kind of falling through tears in reality to kick your fucking ass.
Yeah, eventually the enemies in the actual game here that are currently generated, they'll run out, basically, for something that can really threaten you. But if you're a psychic, you just end up fighting extra-dimensional enemies at some point as well, and they're all psychics too. And they're, that's the dimension where it's the fucking robots are all psychic. If you got that one, good luck. This game has an outrageous amount of depth to it, is what it is. It is a ridiculously in-depth game, and I heavily recommend it if you have ever enjoyed playing a traditional roguelike. You will likely enjoy this. And even if you haven't, this is actually also one of the most accessible ones of those, legitimately.
Yeah, it looks big and surprisingly playable. I remember playing it before because I was interested in this genre, and it's not a genre that you don't stumble into this. You kind of have to look for it a little bit.
You gotta go find it. No one just starts playing NetHack or something like that randomly. You have to go specifically looking for it. And this is very much one of those. And I adore this game.
Tuesday.
I adore this game.
You want to go next?
Oh, do you want me? I was going to say, Psych, you can go too. I'm okay with going last because I can be pretty quick with mine for what it's worth if we're like running long.
Okay, I mean, I guess I can go then.
Okay, I've got
Yeah, beside I figure I might as well be somewhat kind of brief with mine as well, just because, well, the gameplay footage that you're just gonna see, it's literally just a random game that I ended up doing. Like, I'd say Town of Salem as a kind of game is not necessarily one where you could literally just go live and immediately get a game that you think is going to be good and everything. So yeah, for people who are not really aware of Town of Salem, it's essentially a social deduction kind of game where you essentially have to just trick people into believing what you have to say. And there's several factions in town. Like in the original game, for instance, it was town versus the mafia and everything. And yeah, of course, as you're looking through the chat, you can always see the kind of people that you can play with. But hey, that's a detail for later. But yeah,
I remember playing this with you. I've never played the game it's based on, like Werewolf or whatever.
Yeah, I never played it as well. Like, my exposure to the genre was essentially Town of Salem 1, and eventually I ended up being hooked, and it went on for quite a while, and it went through a lot of trials. Like, at one point, the game ended up stopping being free to play just on the grounds that there was just, at one point, a giant bot infestation, and there was literally nothing they could do to stop it except to make the game actually cost money in order to be able to register an account. So yeah,
what is
essentially...
What is a coven leader? That's your role here, right?
So, yeah, in the original game, like, it was literally town versus mafia. Now it's town versus the coven. There's no more mafia. Essentially, all of the mafia roles that there were in Town of Salem 1 have been rolled into Town of Salem 2. Essentially, like, the coven has just become this giant mafia that have a lot of possible abilities. Like, the coven leader in this game right now, they have 2 modes where they can choose to attack people at night with a basic attack and also have a basic defense, which means that if some people come in order to attack you, you will be able to survive their attack, and they will not be able to get a kill. But likewise, you can also choose to empower yourself, which will make your attack more powerful, which allows you to pierce through the defense of another character at the expense of not giving you any defense. Like, every character into the game has a basic attack and defense meter. There's no attack, basic attack, powerful attack, and unstoppable attack. And essentially, in order to kill someone, your attack meter needs to be higher than their defense, which can be non-existent, basic, powerful, or invincible. So I wasn't sure whether, like, I was gonna kill somebody that had defense or not, so I decided to empower myself, and yeah, I ended up killing Prosecutor, which is actually one of the roles that you really want to kill into this game, because yeah, one of the thing with Town of Salem 2 is it's got a shitload of new roles, and a lot of them also have an effect directly on the gameplay during the actual day. Like, instead of actions that only typically happen during the night, because most of the game's roles are going to do actions during the night, but now there are roles, for instance, that can do things during the day. For instance, Prosecutor, during the middle of the day, they can choose right out of the gate, that person over here is gonna go on trial. And yeah, right here we can see one of the different roles. This is Deputy. Now the Deputy has decided to shoot somebody, but it turns out that they shot a fellow townie, because apparently one or the other were supposed to be innocent or not. But yeah, they badly shot. And whenever you have roles that can kill, town roles that can kill others, then yeah, this is what happens if you get it wrong. Like, for instance, Yep. Essentially, in the previous game, if you were a vigilante and you shot somebody who was town, you could still live another day, but then you will commit suicide the day after. Here, you no longer even get that luxury. You immediately die on the spot if you do wrong.
So, going over the general gameplay here, because we maybe have people who didn't play the first one. If correct me if I'm wrong, the idea of this game is you have a secret role, and each of you in that, you try and identify who your friends are and who your enemies are. And if you're the evil guys, you typically can just immediately discover who that is. But every day goes by, the evil guy's goal is to kill all the villagers, and the villagers' goal is to find out who the evil guys are and vote to hang them and get rid of them. And these are all 15 players working on that, with lies going on constantly in the chat.
Yeah, essentially, it's either about finding out the real truth, distorting the truth enough so that people are not going to have a clue about what is going on or who to vote for. There's also a lot of brand new roles in order to actually do things, which also makes certain strategies that people could use into the previous game a little bit more risky. For instance, lots of people will be able, like during the day, they will ask people to claim roles and everything, but there's a role in the game that the Coven has, Ritualist. What they do is that they pick a player, and if they successfully identify the role that this person have, they die. But if you get it wrong, then everybody in town knows that you tried to cast a spell and that you're bad, and therefore will likely get killed.
So you literally are trying to Death Note somebody, is what it is. You're trying to Death Note them, and you need to write down their name of their role correctly, or it just doesn't take. That's it. So, because that's the thing, right? Is like a lot of people are going to compare this to Among Us, even though obviously Town of Salem 1, way before Werewolf, way before that, Mafia, literally played with a deck of standard playing cards. These as old as time. Town of Salem, though, I remember the first one had so many roles, and they really would mess stuff up. Are there still the roles in Town of Salem 2? Like there was one, I think it was like the Joker or something in the first one, where you were trying to get killed. Like that was your whole role, was like trick someone into shooting you in the head.
Yeah, essentially that still exists. There was Jester into the original game, and if you manage to get hung as him, essentially like you could pick one of the person that decided to guilty you, and they will die. And at this point, for people who have also not played ever since like the Coven expansion, like there's also a lot of other new roles, like typically, like most of them belong into the trappings, like of either to protect the town.
Hanging out right there. Is literally the Anubis a role? What?
Oh, that's just a skin. Like essentially, there's a lot of different skins that people have.
So that could just be some random asshole right there. I could just be a townie that's just like, I just live here. I'm the Anubis, but I could just live here.
Because that's how they monetized Town of Salem 1 before they had to have people buy in. Like it was free to play with cosmetics, I think.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So what is
alongside with plenty of big pop-ups that are like, hey, get all of these scrolls and all of these town points for only like $3 and everything, and believe me, they got me a bunch with this. Like I sunk a shitload of money in the first game.
Well, we're seeing it from the evil guy's perspective. Walk me through a generic good guy's role of what your week of this game would be like if you were trying to win. How would you do that? What would happen? What's going on in your day, in your game?
I mean, during most of the day, essentially, like, you just talk in order to exchange information and everything, but then you also have certain roles like the town investigative. You have certain roles like Lookout, where you pick a character and you can tell which person gets visited by this person, and therefore, like, if you see somebody visit a person that you visited and they suddenly turn out dead the other day, like, you're like, oh, I believe that I've just spotted this person kill somebody. And then you have also another role, which right now is completely disgusting, and at this point I think they're gonna have maybe to patch that out, because they're so overwhelmingly strong, and it's Seer. You choose 2 people in town, and essentially the game tells you, are these 2 people friends or enemies? And yeah, the fact that you can literally compare 2 people to each other means that you can cover a lot of ground without much difficulty, and you can identify evils pretty easily, to the point where, like, you can very easily for instance, we just see that somebody got successfully gested. We're gonna see them pick somebody at random to die on the next turn.
So when you die, you still get the will pop up. I see that, where you can have written whatever you want, and they see, like, genuinely, there's no deception on your roll. Once you're dead, they know what you were, and then they see your notes. Unless somebody sabotages the note, that can still happen, right?
Yep, that can still happen. You have Enchanter as a role in the Coven, and what they can do is, well, it's essentially like the equivalent of Framer and Forger into the game. Like, whenever they visit somebody at night, they can make them look like a member of the Coven, and twice a game they can choose to alter a person's will, but also the role that they appear has, which can lead to a lot of really big deception, because then their entire identity becomes a complete lie. So, for instance, you may end up having killed a jailer, but everybody else, it might just be a coroner or something like that.
Just the jester just kills the one who killed him. That's it. All there is to it, right?
They get to pick one of the people that either voted them guilty or abstain. And if they don't pick anybody, then the game will pick somebody at random.
And at that point, the jesters won, correct? Like, for their variation of victory, like, you get your victory points, like, good job, you did your part.
Yep.
That's the thing, which is interesting. I think that's interesting that you can have, like, a kind of side win condition that you can achieve without ending the entire game as a whole, which is something Town of Salem does that I don't know if other games of the genre do quite as well.
Oh,
there
yeah.
are a few other games that have, once you get into like various hidden information role games that have very large like groups of players that aren't playing with each other, there's often the like third faction, or like this faction needs to, or like the one-offs who have different win conditions and whatnot. And given that this game apparently has like, what is that, 16 players for a day?
Yeah, 15 player per game.
Yeah, of course, that makes sense why it would have one of those for sure. Like, Bang and its many variants has the, like, you know, the outlaw, in who is like, you know, at odds with one of the both of the other factions, kinds of things.
I had not heard of these kind of games when I played this, so it was all new to me, and I was
Renegade.
I was interested in trying, like, the card game it was based on, but I in my head I couldn't even visualize how that would happen. Like, the digital element of this makes it so much smoother, seemingly, to me in my head. Of how
this is a game that will work with cards, but it's just like, that will be a giant clusterfuck, and I will never want to organize that.
So
especially like
more basic versions with cards, and it's like a huge pain in the butt, because you have to say things like, okay, everybody close your eyes and put your head down. Okay, now people who are this, look, and you're like, that kind of thing. And obviously there's a lot of just trust that goes on in that, and like, that's fine and good when it's you and a couple buddies, but if you're playing online, the digital element is so nice.
Yeah, the standard with Werewolf is, you know, put your roll to your head and then everyone close your eyes, and then things like that, you know. Or everyone who is this, open your eyes, and they get to look at each other and see who is the others. And it is pure. It's all honesty system when you get down to it.
Is this your pilgrim here? That's this way he...
Oh yeah, that was the skin that I had, like, for that one game. Like, essentially, like, there's a shitload of possible skins that you can have into this game. Like, I'd say there's probably at least 12 or 15 of them available for free, and then the other ones you get via town points, which are obtained by playing the game, referring people to the game, which is a little weird system, considering that well, you know, before the game was free to play and everything, so therefore referring made a little bit more sense. But whenever you set up your account, you can put in the name of a person who referred you to the game, and they essentially get goodies for the first 5 people that they refer. And when we were talking earlier about like all of the different neutral factions that can actually get involved with this without like ending the game, like, there's so much more. Like, there's the executioner who has to kill somebody in town, but this time, however, they get to choose who they want to kill, and they have to spend the entire game trying to get them killed on the stand. And then if they successfully win, then they actually also get to kill somebody who voted them guilty, which makes them even more deadly. And then you've got other roles like the pirates, who has to play rock, paper, scissors with people, like, during the night in order to attack them for their goods, and they have to successfully win 2 duels, and then they are the winner in their own book. And finally, there's also the Doomsayer, which Oh yeah, nice vid.
Right.
Yo, Ryan Hunter DX, what's good? The original.
This person is great. I like them so much.
I just saw a notification while I was watching. I really wanted to click it, and that's what it was.
Fuck yeah, dude. God, I love Ryan Hunter DX.
Ty Tuesday. You want to kick us off?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna post what you should title my segment because it's a little unclear. That works. That's fine. Yeah. Hi everybody. I'm here to talk to you about Asuka R Sharp, Asuka R Krutz, whatever. They added a character to Guilty Gear. I believe I have my side stream up to you.
Unbelievable that they did that.
They did it. So this is the character they added to Guilty Gear. Asuka, also known as That Man. He's been like the big villain or like one of the main antagonists they've been building up for years and years and years and years. So it was like pretty exciting when they finally added him to the game. It's like, what are they going to do? How are they going to make him wild? He is, for some value of complexity and difficulty, the most complex and difficult fighting game character ever made. I don't think his execution is as hard as other characters, but you have to play a fucking card game at the same time as playing Guilty Gear. I want to show you some of the results first and show you what it looks like when this character is going nuts, and then we can talk a little bit more about what he's doing in specific. So, because it's... you really get to get away with some fucking baloney with this character. Like, you just fill the screen with garbage. You become a boss character. It's so good.
Nice cube. Cube orb.
He extremely takes you to the shape.
Yeah, they were a fan of the Cubist period of art.
Oh, 100%. This fella loves his cubes. And the thing that's messed up is the cubes themselves, like being a cube, is actually a property indicator. One of his supers, you can fire a version of it that is a cube or a version that is a sphere, and they are identical, except for the fact that the cube is affected by the stabs, as you can see there. So this was me fucking up immensely, to be clear. I go to shoot my cube super, but the staff on screen is the repelling staff that pushes cubes away. You'll tell because the cube goes the wrong way and leaves, which is not what you want. That's bad. But yeah, he's got a really, really wild ceiling. The situations he can set up are just nonsensical. Like what the hell is this? There's just like some cubes floating around. Whiffed, you lose. This character though has so much complexity. I'm not gonna go through all of it here today. But I did actually create originally for this stream, but it kind of scope crept a video going through all of Asuka's spells and supers. I go through it pretty carefully, pretty slowly. I'll go ahead and link it in chat if you feel like sitting down and learning everything this character does at some point. But the general the conceit of what he does, and let me get some Asuka's theme up. There we go. Perfect. The core conceit of him is he has these 4 spell slots at the bottom. Let me see if I have my cursor on screen. I should. There it is. Hello. You've got these 4 slots at the bottom. Each of those holds a card. The card is the spell. You cast your spells just by using quarter circle forward, and then one of the buttons, you can rip through them. You then can draw cards like so. You have 3 decks of cards at all times. You start in deck 1. You can swap between deck 2 and deck 3. Each deck has 30 cards in it. The 30 cards across all 3 decks create a list of 26 spells to manage. To give you an idea, they posted this on the official Guilty Gear stuff. They're like, here's a nice cheat sheet to make it nice and easy to remember what's in each deck. So what this is like is this is a list of what he has in all 3 decks. Test case 1 is deck 1, deck 2, and deck 3. So deck 1 is like more of your standard projectiles, kind of zoning, trying to keep people away. There's a bunch of water cubes, lightning cubes, and wind cubes that are really useful. Deck 2 is very mix-up aggressive. It's got a move that you have to block standing, a move you have to block crouching, and a move that you just have to block for a very long time, so Asuka can do mix-ups and stuff. And then Test Case 3 is where it just goes totally wackadoodle nonsense. It's a real good time, but they just made this character who has an unbelievable layer of complexity, because while you are playing Guilty Gear Strive, which make no mistake, you have to play Guilty Gear while you are playing this character, you also have to be managing just so many resources. And then this is, so there's the ball version of the super, unaffected by stabs, as opposed to the other one that is. But this character is just, there's so much depth to what he does. You have to manage so many different options. Again, I can't think of another character in any other fighting game that has 26 special moves that are locked to him and offered in different ways, in different orders, because you create situations, right? Like, let's say I'm playing through deck 1 and I've used most of the better cubes, most of the good zoning options, and I know all that's left in deck 1 is like a couple of stabs, maybe an MP cost reduction. Like, I know the rest of that deck is pretty rough, so I now need to try and find a situation to get a knockdown, change my deck, and start drawing into another one, or I know the end of that deck is just going to be trash. So trying to manage that kind of stuff and that kind of probability while also playing Guilty Gear at the same time, it's just like so much, but it's so fun. This character, I don't think he's esports. I don't think he's going to be super competitive. I don't think you're going to see people winning tournaments with him. I think he's so cool, man. I think he's just so sick. Like, so many of his options are just totally wild. This one, for example, people get so mad at this thing, and for good reason. It's as big as it looks. You see that fireball?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
What's the?
Pretty big.
It's the whole fireball, bro.
How do you even dodge this?
You don't. I even put the hitbox on screen.
Far away from it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get hit by the fireball, stupid. Don't let him have it.
Okay.
Block, stupid. And that's, for what it's worth, that's like a lot of Asuka's stuff is he has to manage his MP meter, which is the mana gauge next to the cards. If he runs out of that, God, I haven't even gotten to the fucking MP gauge. So the mana meter is a thing he has to deal with on top of his regular meter. Casting spells takes it. He can regain his MP either by spending his regular meter, spending nothing, or spending his health. The health makes it come back very quickly. You might notice there's a blue line around Asuka's health bar, but not the other characters. That's because Asuka has a bespoke health mechanic no one else in the game does. So he has a mana shield. If his mana shield is up and you're hitting him and he still has any MP, he takes the least damage of any character in the game. Cool. Now, what if he doesn't have it, you might ask?
Okay.
Well, it's bad. So the way Guilty Gear does damage is it does a defense modifier. So like the standard is 1. You take 1 times the normal damage. So like when he has his shield up, he has like 0.77. So he only takes 77% normal damage. The squishiest character in the game otherwise, Chip Enough, the ninja, has a defense modifier of about 1.26, I think, something like that. So he takes like a quarter more damage than a normal character would. And that's devastating. That can like totally ruin him. That means some situations that would be 3 hits for any other character, he dies in 2. That kind of shit, right? Would you like to venture a guess of what number Asuka is when he does not have his shield? Remember, 1.25 was the current highest in the game before.
0.1.
It's like 1.8. It's real bad. He explodes. He takes like double damage.
80% extra damage, huh?
Okay, so this is essentially why you're telling that you don't think that this character is gonna be big in competitive circle.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you lose the resource when you're blocking. You lose it when you get hit. If Asuka is forced to block once, that can just be the ball game entirely. Because if you're forced to block and your opponent has a particularly strong sequence, they'll probably hold you down, give you noogies until you have like 1 HP or 1 MP left, and then they touch you, you explode, take 1 million damage, you get knocked to the next screen, and guess what? You still don't have mana, asshole. So like, you're still losing butt cheeks. Yeah, it's a nightmare. So he's one of the strongest snowball characters on the planet. if you watch through the video later on, there's a couple things he gets, like mana regen, that's really, really strong. Auto bookmark, which what it does is normally you have to like manually draw a spell after you cast one. Auto bookmark for 10 seconds makes it so as soon as he casts a spell, he just gets another card drawn from his deck and loaded automatically. So he doesn't have to think. So you can just, if you have MP regen and that up at the same time, you can just sit at full screen and just be like, cubes, cubes, baby, cubes, 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 and they cannot deal with it. So don't let him get going, but boy howdy is it hard to get him going. So yeah, this character is just super cool. I think he's hella neat if you want to learn about all 26 of his special moves, because they're all different. To be clear, they're all different. This, for example, is the overhead. Look at this. Sorry, this thing's so fucking funny. This thing's so funny. Boop. It just goes out of nowhere.
He has a freaking giant ball on the head.
Frame overhead once it goes off.
What is the startup on that? It's like Asuka spells, frame data on spells.
It's hard to tell just from the video. I don't know exactly when.
Okay, from the start of the casting animation to when it hits you is 19 frames, which means Zoomers will claim it is reactable. It is not practically reactable, especially in a block string, because that's the thing you have to remember is it's a spell, so he can just do it. Yeah. Whenever. You might say, oh, cool, I managed to stand up and block the 19 frame overhead in time, which is very hard. Congratulations. Maybe you were looking at my bar. Perhaps you watched the video and knew that he's got the funny rock on his bar. He's going to try and hit me. It's still his turn. He's plus. You block. It's still his turn, idiot. You block the rock. Good. Keep it up, I guess. But yeah, this character is just really wild. He's got a lot of exciting options. The stabs in general will lead to a lot of buck wild situations. Let me show off. This one is belligerent when it gets. Imagine trying to approach this. Imagine trying to deal with this cube. What do you do? What do you do with this cube on screen?
I think I'll just stay back there.
Yeah, don't come close. Let him just cast more cubes at you, Psych. See how it does.
Yeah. I don't know what else I'm gonna do. I'm not a fighting game expert.
Okay, to be fair, I think Kai has a pretty good option on approaching, but it requires him to spend meter, so.
Oh God, ride the lightning. Yeah, he can just RTL through anything. True. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want.
But most characters know.
Most characters have a really rough time getting through the wall of cubes, but yeah, he's just a super cool character. He's really really unique. I've heard him compared to like the Dota Invoker almost, of just like the way you have to constantly be ready for whatever options you pull out, and adapting to them on the fly. He's just really neat, and I think not a lot of people are talking about him because he released, and then people were like, Jesus Christ, this character is hard to play, and kind of moved on. So I wanted to at least give a little bit of a spotlight and show like this character's so cool. He's doing so many new things in a fighting game. I think he's really tight. It's unfortunate that you need 6 PhDs to play him.
Yeah, because I imagine that, like, I don't know, somebody who's like me, who's really bad at fighting game and typically just, mashes button. Like, I'm not gonna go anywhere with this character.
I would not start with Asuka. No, I would start with Mei like or Sol or Kai. Yeah. This is very much for. And the thing is, if you want a character that's this hard, like on an execution level, but way less hard decision making and gets better tournament results, like then you'd play like Zato or Happy Chaos or something. Like this is a character right now that you play him because you think he's cool. And that's really the reality of it. Like he might get some buffs down the line. Frankly, I don't care. I think he's a hoot and a holler. If I knock out one top player with him like I have in the past, I'll take it. They go, I've never seen this character before. What's this guy do? And I go, and then I take their tournament life.
It's only you and you.
You should have watched my video, butt plug. Time to die. And yeah, that's Asuka.
His name is Asuka R. Pound sign hashtag.
Yeah,
well,
it's sometimes read as
version of him because it's supposed to be Asuka R. Roots.
So Asuka R. Kreutz is the actual guy, and Asuka R. Sharp is a clone he made of himself to like learn more about himself. Made a perfect replication that then was it's a whole thing. The last character before this, his name ends in a question mark canonically, and for good reason. I can't go into this again though. I can't. I don't have it in me. I'm not strong enough.
This character is sponsored by the Shadow Government.
Cubes.
Well, hey, that's our 4 games.
It sure is.
I think I'll fix the cameras so that they're not slightly wrong. I'm sure that's bothering somebody, not just me. They're slightly wrong, but that's okay. Hey, thanks for joining me, MDCT, Tie Tuesday, and Psych Eyeball.
No problem.
If the
Thanks for having me.
If the Twitch tagging system is working, then you can just click on their names up there and give them a follow. You should do that.
Thanks for giving me a chance to talk about Shadow Wizard Money Gang. We love casting spells.
Yeah. Thanks for giving me a chance to blow up a reactor pathetically, just doing worse than like. I hope I inspired somebody to go play
Thanks
that.
for allowing me to do wanton destruction.
Yeah, I hope people were watching that and like, wow, sure could do better at this than this guy, because that's probably true. And
I mean, like probably not me, but at least you've given me the feeling of wanting to play this. So I'd say you've accomplished what you set to do.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're doing the mobile game strategy where it's like a little guy running down a thing, and it's like compare 2 numbers, which one's bigger and smaller, and then eventually they like run the number 900 into the number 3, and you're like, you dumbass, I could do better than that.
Only 1% people can solve this level.
Level 1.
Only 1% of people are smart enough to beat Psych Eyeball at counting.
Level 1, level 1 mom, level 99 mob boss.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I'm not gonna stream anything immediately. I might be on later, but any of y'all going live or doing anything today?
I'm good, but thanks for inviting me.
No, I finished my stream earlier. My only big one is next Saturday. I'll catch y'all later.
My big one is next Wednesday.
I'm gonna host over to Loon, who's doing some fiesta. Y'all have a good night.
Yo!
See you later, everybody.
All right, take it easy.